everyone. Good evening to you. Hope you had a great day today. How was your day? How's work? How's school? How's business? Hope it was all good. I had a great day myself, and we did an initial video today, which was so lovely. I so enjoyed doing that video, doing that live. But we're back to our routine live. This is the routine live we normally do at this time of the day. And the title of the series, it is still the Quiet Build series. Quiet Build. And this is episode number 5. Wow. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for being there to kind of listening to what we talk about. Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you for your comment. I see it. And they mean the world. They mean a lot. So thank you so much. I'll move a little bit fast in this series. Try to talk about the things I put down. Then add some more thoughts as they appear. Now, the title of this series is Why Boring is the signal you're doing it right. One of the things we talked about when we talked about the other series we titled Disciplined Life, we said one of the reasons why discipline is quite difficult for a lot of people is that discipline is too boring. It's too boring. And it is that boring that makes it that makes it work, because that boring element of discipline, it's what injects consistency. So you know what you're doing, and you're doing it over and over again. It's actually boring if your mind is tied to novelty, your mind is tied to new ideas. New ideas are great. I love new stuff. I love new things. But when you're dealing with things that will last, when you're creating when you're going for disciplined results that will last, things that will stand the test of time, the focus should be more on the boring things that you do over and over and over again. So that's what this talk is about this night. The Quiet Build is still our series, and this is episode number 5. And the title is Why Boring is the Signal You're Doing It Right. All right. Most people don't quit because something is wrong. Now, please let us know where you're joining us from. Thank you so much for joining. Most people don't quit because something is wrong, friends. They quit because it's boring. All right, a lot of people quit because, man, this is too boring. I can't do that over and over again. I need to do something new and stuff like that. So that's why a lot of people quit. There's no drama, no excitement, no big breakthrough. So just repetition. So you repeat, and repeat again. And repetition doesn't feel impressive, right? Even in your place of work, if you have to do the same thing over and over and over again, it doesn't feel impressive. But here's the truth, friends. If what you're building starts to feel boring, you may finally be doing it right. If what you're building starts to feel boring, you may finally be doing it right. It is just possible that you are within the vicinity of you just got it right. Think about manufacturing, think about factories, think about how they work. They do things over and over and over and over again the same way. Hey, Vodchin, hi, thanks for joining. They do things over and over and over and over the same way. That is why their result, their output is consistent. That is why their output is the same every time. Now, that is boring. They don't jump from A to B. They don't jump. No. They don't chase everything new. No, they do what they've been doing for 50 years, for 100 years, because they know it will work. It's like what they call a washing machine. It just goes in and it comes out. It is boring, yes, but that is why it works. See, this is when people say nothing is happening. Nah, there's not mad. There's nothing new here. There's nothing novel here. I want ginger. I want something that is new. But what they really mean is nothing dramatic is happening. Nothing dramatic is happening. There's no crisis to fix, no chaos to manage, no emotional spike to chase, just steady progress. See, where things are repeated, where things, if you get to the point where your order of operations becomes repeatable, you can actually tell what the result will look like. You can tell what the results will look like. That is why you have QA/QC in companies. That's why you have QA/QC in companies, because what happens is that they know the process, so they know what the result will look like. It also happens in our lives as individuals. Boring things. Once you get to the point where things start becoming boring in what you're building, that means this stuff it gets to the point where it becomes repeatable. You have hit the gold mine. You just discovered steady progress. And steady feels unfamiliar to a lot of people when you live in intensity for years. So steady feels like it's not familiar, because a lot of people, we are so used to novelty, new stuff, new stuff, new stuff. As usual, I break this talk into segments. So segment number 1, excitement builds starts. Excitement builds starts, not foundations. Excitement is powerful in the beginning, friends. It gives energy, it gives momentum, it gives emotion. But excitement doesn't sustain growth. Excitement doesn't sustain growth. Foundation are built through repetition, and repetition really feels exciting. Things you do over and over and over and over again, it doesn't feel exciting. But that's how foundations are built. All right? Repetition feels ordinary, and ordinary is where most people live. A lot of people are like, nah, I'm not interested. I'm going. I want something that is novel. I want something that is full of excitement. So this shows up in relationships, like everywhere you look around you, you see in marriages, in relationships, you see this. The beginning feels electric. The beginning feels like, oh, you have butterflies in your stomach. You can't live without that person. Everything is new, novelty. Everything feels alive. But when it becomes steady, when you know what you get out of it, when it becomes safe, some people mistake calm for decline. So some people are like, man, this is too calm. That means things are no longer working. Things are no longer working. They chase excitement instead of appreciating stability. A lot of people chase excitement in everything they do instead of appreciating stability. They are looking for the new stuff. They're looking for what is new, what is happening newly. Let's go to that. They jump from new to new, new to new, new to new. At the end of the day, you find that such people, they are not stable. They are not stable. Segment number 2, why drama feels like progress. That's very simple. You know, we've been conditioned. We've been conditioned to believe that movement must feel intense. Movement must feel intense, that progress must feel dramatic, that growth must feel emotional. But real building doesn't feel explosive. It feels steady. And steady doesn't create adrenaline, it creates stability. But a lot of us, we want to get to the point where we always feel as if there's something, there's a jolt, there's current in our body, so we want to feel excited. And once you're not getting excitement, the next thing is, oh, these things are not working. But what is actually supposed to work is steady. stability. See, this is why some people only feel alive during crisis. When everything is calm, they feel restless. Not because calm is wrong, but because calm doesn't stimulate them the way chaos did or the way chaos does. So drama gives you something to react to. That's okay. Stability asks you to simply stay. I do believe in one thing. I say the reason why we're talking about these things is that we want a stable life. We want a predictable life. We don't want to anchor our life on a prophet said this, a prophet said that, an imam said this. No. We want our life to come to the point where we are disciplined enough to know that if I keep on doing what I'm doing, I will get this kind of result. That is why we're talking about these things. And I've been doing this for a while now. This particular series is called The Quiet Build. We just finished one called The Disciplined Life. What we're looking for is actually a stable life. Not a life that is exciting, not one that is full of excitement. No. But there are some people, if there's no excitement and if there's no drama, they run away. Because we've been taught, or those people have been taught in their mind that when there's drama, when things are when it looks as if there's movement, things are working. But it's not all movement that's growth, friends. It's not all. Some movement is just busyness that doesn't have results. But because we are emotional, we won't be looking at the result. We'll be looking at the work, not the results. So segment number 3 of the talk. Boring means you've removed chaos. Boring means you've removed chaos. Boring usually means things like there's no crisis. There's no emergency. There's no constant reinvention. I love my life to be in that place. I love to know that I don't have to be under any crisis. I love to know that I don't have to be under emergency. I love to know that I don't have to reinvent. I don't have to be thinking of, oh, something is moving, these are moving, this. I'm going to do a video on AI. I'm going to do a video on that one of these days. Because that's the new buzzword, right? That's the new buzzword. I'm going to do that, and I can do that authoritatively because I'm an IT guy and I will work with these things, so I can really talk about that. A lot of people are running towards things that in 5 years, in 10 years, they will not stand the test of time. So at the end of the day, that person is not stable. What you've been doing before all this while that has brought stability into your life, you're jumping into crazy stuff that you don't even understand. That is how these things are. Novelty, it stimulates adrenaline. But when you're bored, when you're doing boring stuff, boring usually shows you, it usually means there's no crisis. It usually means there's no emergency, there's no constant reinvention. No, you're no longer reacting. Right? Boring stuff, you're not reacting because you know what will happen. You're actually repeating. It is called, in IT, we'll call it rinse and repeat. The reason why we take things to rinse and repeat is because once you get to rinse and repeat, you can predict the result. When things get to the point of you say, oh, this is what we do, I don't have to be there to know what will come out. If the process is actually followed, I know what the result will look like. I don't need a pastor. I don't need a prophet. I love my life to be in that place. I love my life to be that stable, where I can say, okay, this is what these are the results I am gonna, these are the results I will churn out at the end of the year, at the end of the month. Repetition is how mastery forms. Repetition is how mastery forms. Repetition is what leads to mastery. If you're the one that chases novelty, friends, what you end up doing is you end up doing a lot of stuff that you don't know of. You're not the master of none. But when you're doing something repeatedly, when you do something over and over again, you become a master of the process. Repetition is how mastery is formed. See, this is what healthy seasons look like: bills paid on time, habits maintained, conversation steady, no emotional roller coaster. It doesn't feel cinematic, it doesn't feel dramatic, but it feels sustainable. You will live a more calculated life. You will live in peace. You will live long, you will live a balanced life. Instead of chasing every new thought, every new idea, you decide to stick with what works. You decide to stick with what you've been doing, and you repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and get to the point where you're becoming a master. You will live a more balanced life. And at that point, we say it is boring because there's nothing new happening, nothing dramatic happening. But yes, boring works. Boring works. Consistency is boring. That is why it works. Segment number 4: why people sabotage stability. I was looking at it. I said, if people know that stability is great, stability works, why is it that people sabotage it? Why is it that people go ahead and they don't want to, they don't think of stability? See, when life becomes stable, some people create disruption. All right, they start unnecessary conflicts. They change direction too soon. They abandon systems that were working. It's not because stability failed, but because it stopped stimulating them. Adrenaline is no longer being poured into their system. Chaos makes them feel alive. Chaos. Stability feels too quiet for some people. See, this is when somebody say, or people say things like, I just need something different. But often nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong. They're just unused to calmness. They're unused to calmness. And instead of learning to sit in it, they disrupt calmness. All right? Boring works. Consistency is boring. Discipline is boring. That is why it works. It works because it is now repeatable. You now know what will happen. Segment number 5: real builds look plain from the outside. I talked about this yesterday. If someone observes your life during a real build, if someone is looking at your life during a real build, it will definitely look uneventful. In the video I did yesterday, I said if you've not seen that, please go check that out. One of the examples I gave was the only 7-star hotel in the world called Burj Al Arab. That hotel is in Dubai. If you have not, if you don't have to go to Dubai to see it, it's on the internet. It's on YouTube, right? If you see what went underground in the building of that hotel, in the making of that hotel, what went underground, you will be shocked. Because the hotel was built inside the water. You will be shocked what went underground, what the ground swallowed before it got to the point of visibility. Even when it was visible, it was not eventful. You couldn't tell what they were building. If your life has a real build, if somebody looks at it initially, it will not be eventful. And I did say yesterday that when you're building something real, be prepared to walk alone, because that path, the pool of people that you will need that will go with you on that path, the pool becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. Because the way you think differently now. You no longer laugh at the jokes you used to laugh at. You no longer feel, you can't argue issues with them anymore because you're not seeing things anymore like that. You're now working from purpose, not to purpose. See, you wake up, you work, you improve slowly, you repeat. You wake up, you work, you improve slowly, you repeat. Let me state this clearly here. When I started this YouTube journey, If someone ever told me I will come live and do something like this, I wouldn't believe it. I'm still learning. I've been here now for like 7 months, pushing out content. I'm still learning. But you know what? I make mistakes today. I don't let that stop me. I move on to the next. I move on the next day. And the more videos I make, the more content I release, the more my mind becomes a passage for knowledge. My mind becomes more refined to knowledge. Every day, knowledge comes to me just because we talk about it every day. That's how it is for you. That's how it is for everything you do. You wake up, you walk, you learn a little bit, you improve gradually, slowly, then you repeat it. There's no spectacle. Like nobody's gonna see the work you put in. Yeah. There's no spectacle, but internally, something powerful is forming. Something big is forming. It is called reliability. You're becoming so reliable. Reliability is forming internally. As you do these things you do, reliability is forming. And this is how trust is built. This is how trust is built. Not through grand gestures. I said this before. I've said it time without number. Trust is not built through grand gestures. No, but through showing up, again and again, without needing applause, doing things one at a time, gradually. People who build quietly become dependable. People who build quietly becomes dependable, and dependability outlasts charisma. Oh, you must have seen this in your office, I guess, your place of work, your business place. There is this guy that is Mr. Charmer. He charms everyone. Whoever comes across him feels the charm. But that guy might not be Mr. Reliable. But there's someone else that is not Mr. Charmer, but it's Mr. Reliable. Most of the time, if you want to do things that are very important to you and the company, you talk to Mr. Reliable. See, consistency isn't loud. Consistency isn't loud. It is quiet power. Consistency is quiet power. It's not loud. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't ask for applause. Consistency compounds. Oh, that reminds me. One of the videos we talked about on the channel, we talked about the law of compounding. Little by little, little by little, it becomes a rock. It becomes much. That's how consistency works. It compounds. And compounding is not dramatic. It is gradual. It takes time. But gradual growth outlasts dramatic outbursts. See, this is how confidence forms. This is how confidence forms. Confidence, it doesn't come from one big bang, one big win. No. It comes from small, kept promises. It might be promised to yourself. It might be promised to somebody else. But you kept the promises. You kept the promise. Small, kept promise. Oh, a very good example is like, Matt, you know what? Tonight I'm tired, but I've promised myself before I go to bed, I'll read one paragraph or one page of a book. I'm tired, yes. I want to sleep, yes. But if I read that one page of the book, what I've done to myself, I have built reliability. Now, will it show? It won't show. If I do it tomorrow again, I've built extra reliability. Will it show? It won't show. Now, the more I do it, the more I become very reliable, the more I become trusting to myself. But if I try to say, I'm going to read a paragraph, and when it gets to that time, yes, I'm tired. That is fine. That is a human factor. We are all humans. Yes, you're tired. But instead of reading that book, I go to sleep. Man, nothing happens. It's okay. Tomorrow it happens again. I go to sleep. Now, if I by the time I do it one full month, at the end of the month, something happens. It's called self-trust erodes. It now goes downhill. Automatically, if I tell myself something, even myself will tell me in my own head that you don't mean what you're saying. Because I just know I no longer believe my word. It doesn't hold water anymore. How did it start? Little, I'll do it later. I'm a bit tired. I'm tired. I can't do that right now. So doing things over time builds confidence. Over time, you stop needing external validation. See, when I started doing these lives, there are times when it was just it was 5 people, it was 7 people watching. I get discouraged. Then there's someone on YouTube. He reached out to me. He said, Matt, he said, continue it. He said, you don't have to just continue it. He said, the big wins come when you continue it. Right? It builds your confidence when you continue it. There's a channel I love. There's one guy that plays a guitar and he sings. He does live, I think every Monday. That guy has no viewers on the live, but he does. I've watched him. He's so consistent with it. That is consistency. Now, what that guy is doing is building confidence. And now something's going to happen here. It will get to a point where the results start showing. And you know what people will say? People will say, "Oh, he just caught a breath of luck. It's a lucky guy." No, it's not a lucky guy. That guy has been putting the work behind the scene by showing up every Monday to just do his stuff. That is how confidence is formed. Little promises that are kept along the way. Over time, you stop needing external validation because your reputation has already built the biggest fort. It's called self-trust. All right, segment number 7. Boredom is a test of maturity. Boredom. When things feels boring, you're being tested. Not in your ability to start, but in your ability to stay. Oh, I like that. You're being tested in your ability to hold on, to stay. Patience. When things are not working, things are boring, you're being checked. Can this person stay? Does he even believe the process? Or he was looking for a near miss, a big bang? See, staying when it's quiet, staying when it's predictable, staying when it doesn't feel impressive, that's where real builders separate themselves. That's where real builders separate themselves. I said something yesterday. I said, I am a big fan of people that are successful. Now, I don't, there are times I go into the moral aspect, but I'm not talking about the moral aspect now. I'm talking about success in what I want to do, or success in what I do. So what do? I try to study them. I try to read what they've written, if they have it. Oh, I try to go to YouTube and find videos where they had a talk. That gives me years and years of experience put quickly into my brain. So when you're building something real, real builders separate themselves when staying when things are quiet. Staying when it is predictable, or staying when it doesn't feel impressive. But you remain there. You're still there. You're not running away looking for novelty. You're not running away looking for new thoughts. You're not running away looking for what somebody says is working. You owning your skill. You're making it work. You're trying to get to the point where it becomes something that you can repeat. Because once you get there, stability kicks in. You can tell your result. You can prophesy your result. You don't need a prophet. You can say, this is what I'm going to get, because I know what the process is. So I know if I follow the process, if I trust the process, if I put the right input, I'll get this output. That is how it is. In computer, there's something we call garbage in, garbage out. All right. If you put trash into the computer is not too smart. It's not too smart. It's going to give you trash. It's going to give you trash. See, maturity shows up here when you choose long-term stability over short-term stimulation. You choose long-term stability over short-term stimulation. You choose stability over excitement. When you choose depth over drama. When you choose reliability over recognition. Segment number 8. I love this talk. This is it's so calm and so piercing. Oh, Eat for Life. They're always learning from this channel. Thank you for joining. I ask a question at this point most of the time that reframes boredom. Now, let me ask you something honestly here. Are you bored, or are you finally stable? Those are not the same things. They are not. Are you bored or you're stable? Sometimes boredom isn't emptiness, it's peace. And peace can feel unfamiliar if you've lived in intensity. If your life has been full of chaos, peace will feel unfamiliar. I'm gonna shut down or close with these thoughts. See, boring doesn't mean broken. Boring doesn't mean broken. It often means balanced. The quiet build doesn't feel dramatic. It feels dependable. It feels dependable. As a man with family, there's one place I want to get to. I want to get to the point where my life becomes stable, where I can practically tell what will happen. By the time I'm able to get there, I don't need a prophet. And how do you get there? By building systems, boring systems. And when we talk boring system, we're talking about consistent systems. By doing things consistently. It is boring, very, very boring, but it will give you the results you want. I started researching on the next series. I don't want to give that out yet, but I'm trying to work out on the topic, on the title for that. It's gonna talk a lot more on something like this. Having stability, having a stable life. Friends, this is quiet build, and this is where repetition becomes power. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for staying with us. Thank you so much for sticking around. I love to have these conversations because they make me grow. They make me grow. I learn a lot from them myself. So yeah, I always invite you. If you've not subscribed to this channel, kindly subscribe. We're not here for entertainment. You've heard me say that this is not a music channel. This is not a comedy channel. This is a channel where growth is prioritized, where direction is number one. We all here just about growth, about making changes to our lives. All right. Thank you so much for your time, friends. Thank you for your support. Let us know what you think about these videos. Comment under the videos and let us know what you think about it. You don't have to agree. I always say that you don't have to agree, but that's where we disagree to agree, right? Let us know what you think. Let us know your thoughts. We might all just be learning from what you think. Thank you so much, and do have a great night. You know what? This is Matt Miller, and I'm signing out for the night. Peace. Bye for now.